The face of God is all I am. The face of God is all I see. So, when that person has laid on your last nerve, can you see the face of God? Ha! When somebody's bringing you a bone, can you see the face of God? See, because what Mama said is love one another as yourself. We're going to talk about that more later. How about that men's choir? It's a wonderful thing to see men in service to God, yes? And we want more of that, yes? Well, from within, I let my heart begin to see the face of God. See, Matthew said, 5:8, if you need the numbers. The pure in heart shall see God. It doesn't say the pure in heart may see God, sometimes see God. When I feel like it, see God. When I'm in church, see God. On Monday, see God. On Tuesday, see God. On Wednesday, see God. Thursday, Friday, you know the week. Oh, I know it's hard. I know it's hard because when I forget who I am, I forget who you are. See now, Ernest Holmes says, is there any news of heaven other than that which comes through the thought of another? See, everybody is a messenger. Everybody is bringing a message. You're all angels. Each of you are bringing a message. Turn to your neighbor and say, what message are you bringing? So Ernest Holmes says, whoever thinks purity sees it and is beholding good. Well, now, if you have people who are doing certain things that don't reflect God, that doesn't dismiss the fact that they still are God. See, your mama, when you got out of pocket, she had to straighten you up, right? But she didn't stop loving you. She didn't stop seeing the potential in you to be greater than you are acting. See, the face, I'm sure, but I'm going to have to check your shoe size for those red shoes, Michael. With the gold plate around the edge. See? That too is God. So Ernest Holmes says, the face of the Ancient of Days on looks eternity, and the upward glance ever sees this reality in all things. See, the face of the ancient days is not only the God of Abraham, not only the God of Moses, not only Krishna, not only Muhammad, not only Zoroaster, not only Buddha. The face of God is each one of us. So it's important for us to know that not just an upward glance allows us to see the face of God, but the face of God is in the mirror. Hello? The face of God is in your so-called enemy. The face of God is in that person that you're not trying to be with, who keeps trying to be with you. The face of God, hello? Somebody's home. The face of God is in that person who means harm, because they have forgotten who they are. And we all have our version of how we need to remind them of who they are. Put that one aside and pray about it. But the way to remind them of who they are is to give them more love. See, only love is happening. It's either a call for love or an act of love. Oh, some of y'all are calling for love big time. Lord have mercy. So, Ernest Holmes says, the pure in heart not only shall see God, but do see him. See, we're talking about purity. We're not talking about all that stuff you put on. We're not talking about your red shoes. We're not talking about, your bad hat. We're not talking about the outer appearance that you want people to see. We're not talking about your persona that you're putting on because you're trying to impress somebody. We're not talking about your degrees. We're not talking about your position. We're not talking about your race. We're not talking about your age. We're not talking about your sexuality. We are talking about your essence. So understand that you can turn within and begin to see the face of God, but you've also got to turn without to see the face of God. See, Hindu scripture says you have eyes. Yes. She has eyes because she can see. The Hindu scripture says you have eyes because you can see. So your seeing is not dependent on these. Ask a blind person. They have a seeing that you can't know, because it is a vibration that they are catching whenever they're walking in a room. It is a vibration that they're catching when they encounter different people. In order to navigate through this life, they have to rely on their inner seeing in order to be able to get through. So a mother sees. Matthew says 13:16, if you need the numbers. Blessed are your eyes, for they see. Few indeed, when looking, see. How many times have you looked at someone and made a judgment? Don't get quiet now. How many times have you made up your mind about somebody before you even had a conversation with them? Okay? How many times have you heard somebody say something and twist it around as the totality of who they are? See, mama didn't leave you when you were cutting a fool. Or if She did leave you, it wasn't because of you, it was because of her. Because a mother sees who you are and your potential. That's why she's willing to invest in you, her time, her energy, her love. Well, she has a legal responsibility too, but yeah. She didn't take you to the fire station and leave you there, or if she did, you made it all right somehow. See, in order for us to see clearly, you have to know how to see from the inside out. Ernest Holmes says, it is useless for those who have never experienced inner seeing or hearing to deny its reality. See, when the men were singing about go deep, it wasn't just a physical act of going deep. This was like allowing yourself to drop into the heart of God. That's what we did Friday night when we were visioning. We allowed ourselves to drop into the heart of God. Our eyes weren't open when we were visioning. Our eyes were closed because we were seeking to know no distractions in the outer realm from being able to see what God has for us to see. So it's not about seeing the same thing the same way that you have always been seeing the same days of your life. This is about needing to embrace the spiritual dimension of your being that is calling for a new seeing and therefore a new way of being. And if you haven't experienced an inner seeing, you can't make a judgment or a decision about what that might be. So for those of you who think that meditation or visioning is too static and you can't sit still, then allow yourself to go to the ocean or to a forest or someplace in nature where there is stillness and simply allow yourself to be with an intention towards seeing the face of God. Now, I've had a couple of instances this week where the face of God was kind of fuzzy. I told y'all I'm keeping it real. Folk were coming and doing this and that. And then, I got this human aspect of me that is like, okay, the first time I can see God, the second time I can see God. About the fifth person that comes up with cray, I'm like, you know what? Cray is short for cray cray. E.g. craze E. Okay? And so when folks are hiding from me, oh yeah, they are. They're hiding. They send folks to talk for them to me. And I'm like, I'm not in that conversation. So when somebody, I told y'all I don't do triangulation. You come to me. You don't send a messenger. I'm available. Everybody got my phone number, my email, everything's everywhere. Now, when I had to just kind of stop, I said, oh, now wait a minute. What does the Course in Miracles say? Well, the Course in Miracles says, I accept atonement for myself. The Course in Miracles says, I accept at-one-ment for myself. See how that word is? See, when you are in the oneness, then you know who you are. When you are in the oneness, then you know who everybody is. So there's no one to forgive outside of yourself, but to forgive that aspect of you who forgot who you were, who thought you were less than the face of God. So now, yesterday, when Bishop Michael Curry was talking at the royal wedding, he said, oh, it's not just about a young couple's love. It's about loving one another as yourself. That's the part you need to hear, as yourself. Now, that's making a presumption that you love yourself. We don't always love ourselves, and we know it. Our body lets us know it. Okay? Other people, we were talking about this in foundation class the other night. Other people are responding to you based on your belief about you. I'm going to say that again because you need to get it. People are responding to you based on your belief about you. Now, I get it. Race thoughts all up in here. It's been saying, well, you know, they don't like gay people. Well, you know, they don't like black people. Well, you know, they don't like Latino people. Oh, well, you know, they don't like transgender people. Oh, well, you know, they don't like New Thought people. Oh, well, you know, they don't like white people. You know, when I heard a black person say to me a week or so ago, you know, I'm selling my house because there's all too many white people around. I was like, this is like a 360 from what it was. And that person too was in denial. I'm not looking at that person so they don't feel guilty. But their response was, it's just different. Life is about things getting different. Y'all know that. Y'all been through a few kind of difference at East Bay, huh? You've been through an East Bay with Reverend E. You've been through an East Bay with interim ministers. You've been through an East Bay with a conglomeration of different experiences. They all been different, but you got through to be here right now, yes? So different ain't so bad. So what I want you to know is that what you are saying about yourself is laying the groundwork. So I invite you to look at yourself in the mirror and see yourself in a different way. See yourself in a way that is loving. See yourself as the face of God. Because it's one thing when you look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, girl, you looking good, let's go. And it's another thing when you look in the mirror and be like, oh, the wrinkles and all this, and I'm broke, and I'm fat, and all of this self-talk, all of these beliefs that you have about yourself, and then want to get an attitude when somebody say, honey, you gained weight. When you're the one that put it out into the universe. And so when we talk about involution, receiving God, we're also talking about evolution, moving from the realm of effects into the higher realm of our awareness. And that takes us to receive it in a deep place and to be able to be willing to receive more by reaching for more of God. I know it's hard, but then again, it's not. Emma Curtis Hopkins says, describing our good will bring it to our sight again. Describe your good. Stop focusing on what doesn't look good. Stop focusing on so-called evil. Evil is a misuse of the law. They just don't know how to spell. It's live. If they're dyslexic, help them know the word is L-I-V-E. So, you know, you may feel a little less spiritual information when you are whining and complaining. That's what Emma says. But when you praise and describe the good you feel full of spiritual fervor. So a practitioner does not treat a sick person. A practitioner deals only with the idea of perfection. Otherwise, he walks in looking at a vibration of something and get caught up in the vibration of sick. And practitioners are not only the licensed ones, that's who practices these principles. So when you were reading from the notebook and you were like, da, 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 okay, that's one thing. But what happens when you walk out of here? What do you know about the experiences that life has to offer you? Some people got mad on Facebook because there was a picture of Jesus holding a picture of Trump and said, I have chosen you to be president. Well, you know, Jesus is the Christ who sees the perfection in everything that is. So rather than saying, well, those Trump supporters, they're blah, 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 crazy and blah, 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 say, wow, what opportunity is God giving me with this man? Do I get to stretch my spiritual muscles? Do I get to improve my seeing? Because healing is not creating a perfect idea or a perfect body. It's revealing an idea that is already perfect. So we want to reveal the perfect ideas that are not quite evident in this moment. And so when we know that seeing comes from the inside and not from our eyesight, we are able to see the truth of who we are, and our eyesight gets more better. Yes. So Mama said, love yourself. Mama said, act like you love yourself. Mama said, talk like you love yourself. Mama said, walk like you love yourself. And see if they can help themselves from not loving you. Ha, 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 ha. Namaste.